Good morning and welcome back to Russell Does Stuff. My name is Russell and this is my YouTube channel, Russell Does Stuff. And I work Mondays for 6 hours, Tuesdays for 6 hours. Whatever I don't get done, I'll work on Wednesday. I think we have a car coming. So I'll get out of the road so I won't get run over. I guess the car stopped coming. So I shall continue on. I was doing some thinking last night, and I don't have a lot of friends that are business owners, that are in business for themselves. Most of my friends are retired, and they are uh, collecting Social Security or a pension or something. And I can't talk business with them or investments or things in those arenas. I made a new friend about three weeks ago who's in business. He has that barbecue cleaning company out in Los Angeles. And I think it's a new business from what I understand. And listening to him talk about his business and stuff reminded me of when I started my businesses. Sometimes when you start a new business and you get rolling, you get a few customers, you forget to do some things. Like find a need and fill it. Okay? You're at a customer's house, they're already paying you, they've already contracted you to do some work for them. And if you do a good job, they'll pay you for that. But don't forget to put your detective hat on. Okay? Am I doing everything that I possibly can do to take care of myself and take care of the customer? Take care of the customer first, and then you will be taken care of second. That's always how that works. And I knew that when I started my landscape and lawn service, that if I took care of the customer, they would take care of me. And then once I started rolling and stuff, I didn't worry about money as much, and I didn't worry about where my next job was going to come from and stuff. So, continue with that thought. I started thinking, well, how is this person adding value to his opportunity that he has? I asked him, are you putting stickers on the equipment when you leave? Like when I was in the AC business, we put stickers on the unit. When something breaks, you go out to it and you're looking for that phone number to call. Who was out here last? Maybe that house has been sold and you don't know that your customer moved to Alaska and that new people are now in that home. They're going to go out to that broken piece of equipment and they're going to look for that phone number. So you want to have a nice label that states your name, what you do, parts and maintenance. Okay, make a lot of money on maintenance, make a lot of money on parts. If a customer needs a part, I try to control that whole process. I'll get the part for you. I make a little money getting the part, a little markup on the part. I get money to install that part. Okay. I don't like customers who, I'll get the part for you and then you show up and put it on. I never like doing that. I'll get the knobs for the cabinets. I'll get the thises and that's for things. I didn't like that. So I tried to control as much of that as I possibly could. Customers that want to buy the parts for me, I'm losing money. And the idea is not to lose money. So back to the sticker. You now have a breadcrumb trail that you've built up. Now, some businesses you can't sell reoccurring contracts to. There's a chance in that business that he could set up reoccurring account, every 6 months come out and maintain the unit, like cleaning an air conditioner. You can get them on a 3-month service, for $65 for 3 or 4 months. They send it to you, and they don't have to worry about that piece of equipment. Now you're worrying about that piece of equipment for them. You've made their problems your problems. Okay. So be a detective. Do they have everything that they need in order to have a good time and enjoy that piece of equipment? Same thing in air conditioning business. You can upsell better filters for better filtration. There's other things that you can, you can sell the customer to make their air conditioning system more enjoyable. I don't recommend UV lights and some of that stuff that these SIDs are selling, salesmen in disguises. And you want to stray away from being a SID, salesman in disguise. Okay? You're there to help your customer, all right? Some customers you go out to see, you're not going to make any money, all right? You're gonna fix the problem. It might be something simple as a breaker's tripped or whatever, and tell that customer, hey, it was just something simple, no charge. If you're just starting out, you need that money. You need to charge them for that trip. But once you get your book of business built up and stuff, it's your time. You're in control of your time, and it's your time to give. So you can make the decision to be their hero. And you can tell them, hey, no charge. They're going to tell 3 or 4 people about you. They're never going to forget you. So put stickers on your stuff. You're going to need that customer calling you one day. And then the thought of them looking you up in the phone book and looking me up in the phone book or on the internet. Wow, what was that guy's name who was out here? I recommend a very few people when it comes to outside people getting involved with my companies. And one guy in particular, his name's Tim. I would let him do a lot of my big, heavy tree work, all right, because he has a $100,000 skid steer, and he can lift big logs and stuff. And he's supposed to give me a piece of the action too. You know, it's called a bird dog fee. And he never did that. He kept all the money to himself, and then he would give the customer his personal number. So I worked for this one real estate lady, and she'd call me like every 6 months. Hey, what was that guy's phone number? Do you have that guy's phone number? This is a great example of people not keeping track of a phone number. So I'd give her his phone number, you know. Finally, I confronted him one day and said, hey, you know, you've been to this customer's house this many times. You know, I have to give her your number every time, and I have to talk you up every time, you know. Oh yeah, use him. He's good. He's responsible and stuff. And we had an agreement that, you know, he would bird dog me like $25 or something. You know, just a thank you. You know. And this particular person, he would argue, you know, no, you know, I'm not out there as much as you think I'm out there, and this and that, and just agree with them. I agree with you not wanting me to recommend you anymore to anybody, and you're welcome. So, being a detective, you're already at their house. They're already giving you money. You're already doing stuff for them. When I started out this business that I'm in now, do you need anything else while I'm here? Oh, I don't want to impose on you. Please make your problems my problems. Okay? Because I found that people who are already giving you money will give you more. Okay? Well, I've got this project that I can't figure out how to put together, or you know, you're already there. It's called found money. Expanding your opportunity. You know. I've made so much money, extra money, by just asking people if can I trim those trees, or you know, when was the last time you had the house mulched and stuff? You'd be surprised how many yeses and extra work you can sell. When I do my billing twice a month, I did a video on how to bill. The office lady says to me, I need you to write your extra work down. Extra work is a huge part of my business, a massive part of my business. Okay? That's hundreds of thousands of dollars at times a month. Just extra stuff. You know, you use your discretion. If somebody needs you to lift something or pick something up and just move it over there, don't charge them. Okay. I've had a lot of my customers, they are widowed, and they don't have the resource to help them do stuff, you know. When I have, like, say Tim, he was out on my jobs, he would try to add value to his job. But like I said, if he upsold that customer that I put him on, or get a job across the street, he never gave me an attaboy. I don't do business with people like that anymore. I found out that he was doing lots of stuff. And if he needed the money, and he was down and out, I would have been all right with that. Keep it all, get your situation taken care of, and I'll get you on the next one. I have another tree company that I work with, and I've known this guy for about 14 years. His name is Sean. Sean used to drink a lot, and I trusted him though. Some of these tree guys are crazy. You ever see one of them way up in a tree cutting branches with a tiny little rope wrapped around their waist? They're nuts. And I would put him on my dangerous stuff. So I've got a large account with some real dangerous trees, and he should be doing them today for me. And he owes me $150 from the last tree job he did. I asked him to do some trimming around this building, and he didn't do it right. Sometimes, you're tired and stuff. You just you do what they call calling it in. So he didn't do a good job and thought it would be acceptable, and then told me, we'll take it off the next bill. But he doesn't. He gave me a price for the same job he's been doing for the last 5 years. And I said, give me a price on what it's going to cost to do that. And he said, well, I've been out here for 5 years in a row. So he gave me a lower price than he's ever given me. And these trees are a mess. And I asked him, I said, you sure? You're going to do them? You're going to do all those trees, 49 palms for like $1,600? He said, yep. I said, are you sure? And I texted him, and I wanted him to text me back that was okay. So I have our deal in writing. So maybe he took $150 off of that bill. Who knows? But I'm going to make an extra couple $100 on that deal because I've got time invested in it. I know that job costs a lot more than he's quoting me. And he, most of the time, will leave some room called meat on the bone for me. So I think he did two things. He's catching up for the money he got over on me a year ago, and he's leaving a little meat on the bone. That's the type of people I want to work with. Okay. As far as his drinking and stuff, he hasn't touched a drop in 3 years. And I'm proud of him for that. He has been a heavy drinker his whole life. And the name of his company became a joke, and it was about him. Like, drunk Danny's going to be coming to the house to do some work, So everybody gave him a nickname and attached a substance to his name, That's not a good reputation to have if you're in business, I want to be called Responsible Russ, not Reckless Russ or something along those lines. Sean asked me if he could do some foxtail palms at this place, and I said, well, I don't know if they need it, and he convinced me that while he's there, he might as well tackle a few of those foxtail palms, get ahead of the game. So he's adding value. He put his detective hat on and tried to increase the money he's making on my job, which is just totally fine. But he asked me first. Okay. I have this selfie stick, and the sun hits it right about there. It looks like an alien's trying to abduct me. So I don't know what to do about that. The stick isn't chrome or anything. It's It's painted black. So when you're just starting out in business, add value. Find a need and fill it. Okay. Be prepared. Be prepared. Have some of the things on you. They're called tools, you know. I carry around tools to fix irrigation. I carry around tools to cut branches down. While you're there, while you're in the business is what they call it. We're in the business, so you might as well get it taken care of. One of the wealthiest men I know, his money rivals NFL football team owner money. Look me right in the eyes and, we're in the business. Let's get it done. While we're in the business, let's get it done. That's always stuck with me, you know. While we're out here, our tools are all out and everything, let's take care of it right now. Okay. Now, not always that's going to be the situation, you know. You might need materials and supplies and stuff, but that's how I kept my business going when the season was over with. I was being the detective at my customers' houses, and I'm like, oh, they're going to need this done, they're going to need that done. And as soon as it got close to when the season was about to end and all these new companies that started are going to vanish into thin air, I was selling jobs for November, December, January, February. Okay. I kept fishing. Well, I think I'm going to end this little chat, and I think I'm going to go to the gym. This morning I try to add it up. 2 pieces of toast and some peanut butter. All right, there's my protein, and there's the grains and stuff from that movie Gladiator in that bread. You know, that stuff he runs his hands through while he's walking in that field in the dream sequence or whatever. So I've got whatever you would consider nutrition out of that stuff in my bread. I think it's a 20-cent breakfast, 2 pieces of bread and some peanut butter. You know, maybe 25 cents. That's not bad. All right. McDonald's, you know, that's $7 now. You know, you go through that drive-through and get a drink and get a sandwich or something. It's maybe $4 or $5, but times that by 360 some days. You know, you can do a lot with that money. Think of all the tools you could buy with that money if you quit spending it on some of this stuff. Well, this is Russell with Russell Does Stuff, and thanks for coming along with me on a morning walk. And we'll catch you on the next one.